Hi, I'm Craig Bell.
And I'm John Perkins.
John, it's said that Koreans have a curious New Year's custom. You know, desiring to forget unpleasant things and make a fresh start like we all do. Each person determines what bad habits he would like to eliminate and what past deeds he wants forgiven. He then writes these names of these evils on a kite and flies it high into the air. When it's almost out of sight, he cuts the string and lets it go. As his kite takes a nosedive and disappears from sight, he thinks all his faults and previous transgressions are forever removed.
If only it worked like that.
Right. I know a lot of us want to make some New Year's resolutions, but we'll talk about this on Take 5.
Food for the soul, helping you to thrive. 5 minutes to renew your mind. Take 5.
You know, John, a lot of people like to take New Year's and use it as a time to restart.
Rebuild, change.
Sure, yeah. Fix this broken.
Lose a little weight.
You talking about me? That's a good thing to do, I guess, you know, to try to think of a fresh start and a new beginning. We all like new beginnings, don't we? John, I was recently reading about Chuck Colson. Chuck Colson signed as one of the President Nixon's closest advisors, but he certainly didn't expect to be put in prison for it. But there's no way that he could have foreseen, you know, what happened with Watergate and all the lies and deceit. It eventually ensnared him and cost him prison sentence. But while his career was ended and he was in prison, he actually started a prison ministry. He established prison ministries while he was there in prison. And when he came out, he began to lead this ministry that did many great things. You know, we all mess up sometimes, get off track and fail. But what do we do with that? That's the real question. Art Linkletter said, things turn out best for people who make the best of the way things turn out.
Yeah, that's true, really, Craig.
So I guess the thing is if we messed up, the bigger question is, what are we going to do from here on? Sometimes we have to put the past behind and put a fresh start and just begin from here. Thankfully, God forgives. You know, think about the story of Jonah. The Bible says that the word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time. And I'm glad that God doesn't write us off after the first time.
Exactly, Brother Craig. I just wonder how many times that people has gave up after they made a mistake, and whatever it is in life, when they make a mistake, they just quit. Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 1, starting in verse 1, says, "The word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Arise and go into the potter's house, and there I will cause thee to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he wrought a work on his will. And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter. So he made it again another vessel, as it seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel."
You know, John, I'm glad that God doesn't throw away broken clay, aren't you?
He can take that clay and make it what he wants it.
Absolutely. Reminds me of that song, you know, He Didn't Throw the Clay Away. Talks about how that God doesn't throw away broken lives, broken clay. He remakes it.
Brother Craig, I was watching your dad one time do his art chalk work, and he began to paint with his hands and with chalk, but he was making this chalk work on this paper. And at first I thought, man, what in the world is this? It just looked like a bunch of scribble. But when you gave him time and when he put it all together, it was a beautiful work. And then he turned the black light on it, and it changed the whole thing to something else. But at first you couldn't tell what it was. And God's working in us and on us. And to an outsider looking in, he might just see a bunch of scribbles, a bunch of mess. But God has a plan, and God has a way to fulfill that plan in us.
Absolutely. So, friends, the best way to start the new year is to start it with God. Give your life to Him. He can make broken things new. And here's some advice, John. Like the poet said, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And the only way to do that is through Jesus.
Amen.